Oklahoma suffering through a horrible tragedy last night with a devastating tornado killing 51 people, including 20 children. In our ongoing coverage of this, we're still joined by Eric Holthaus, our in-house meteorologist. Eric, thanks again. Just give us some details, if you can, on the science of this. You know, what forms these tornadoes? What are the weather conditions that create them?
Well, springtime in the Midwest, there's a collision of air masses. You have dry air coming from the west, and you have warmer, moist air coming from the south, from the Gulf Coast. So, if you can get kind of a jump start mechanism, which in this case is a low pressure center that moves through, when that air starts to interact, it starts to rotate, and in the presence of an unstable atmosphere. So that means, the heating of the day, sometimes it gets up to, 85, 90 degrees in early May, that time in this part of the country. Warm air rises, and that rising column of rotating air turns into a massive thunderstorm, which sometimes the intense ones can produce a tornado.
I believe last week's storms stretched all the way up to Minnesota. Is that unusual for this time of the year?
Not at all. Sometimes these storms stretch 1,000 miles of interlinked storms. Even today is kind of the fourth day of this multi-day outbreak. So the threat has shifted down to southern Oklahoma and northeast Texas today. But there's been tornadoes across multiple states over the last 3 days. So I think 50 over the weekend and another 15 or 20 yesterday.
Now, in the wake of Hurricane Sandy and a whole range of other, devastating tragedies in recent years, obviously people are wondering whether or not this is a function of climate change. It seems from the conversation today that this is just dumb luck, that in fact we aren't necessarily experiencing more than normal. But is there, a climactic element to this?
Well, when you change the composition of the atmosphere, it's going to change pretty much every weather event in ways that we don't really understand too well right now. So as far as tornadoes are such a localized, intense event that there are many facets have to come into place to produce a tornado. So there's evidence that the atmosphere is getting more moist, holding more water vapor. So that provides extra energy to storms like this. There's also evidence that the wind shear, so the decreasing or changing wind direction and wind speed as you move up in the atmosphere, that's projected to weaken with climate change. So it's really unclear at this point which of those forces will win out. But and just like you said, as you saw with Hurricane Sandy, as you saw with the floods and the drought, more extreme events seem to be occurring, and that's partly due to our changing atmosphere.
Now, what are forecasters saying about any risks that may be out there for the rest of the country? We've seen tornadoes as far as New York in recent years.
Yeah. With climate change, I think tornadoes are expected to shift a little bit further north. So a little bit further north and east. So so there could be an increase in threat in New England, in New York City area. And this is cutting edge research right now. I went to the American Meteorological Society annual meeting to discuss Hurricane Sandy in January, and there were a lot of presentations on this exact point of how can we expect tornadoes to change in a changing climate? So believe me, this is research that is ongoing right now.
It's disturbing stuff. Eric, thank you very much for your time.